RailSplitters.com, and I'm Scott Erland here with head baseball coach Jeff Sziksai, and we're going to do a season preview for the upcoming baseball season. Coach, can't believe the season's already upon us. Just a brief recap. Last year, the Rail Splitters go 27-17-1, that weird tie that we had on the schedule. Pretty good schedule, pretty good season overall. We're getting up going 16-8 in conference play, and that was with a bunch of games rained out. Returned a whole bunch of guys. Just in broadest of terms, how do you feel going into this season?
Yeah, last year I would kind of, in a sentence, characterize pretty good season with a bad ending. Kind of down the stretch there, we put ourselves in position for a regular season title, and the last 2 weekends just didn't get it done, and that was frustrating. But certainly fuel going into the off season. The fall and early spring so far has been good. Guys working extremely hard, and we're a week away, play a week from today, so excited about that, and getting going.
And obviously, you have to be really excited. A veteran squad, you really return a bunch of guys who've been through the grind of the college game. Now nine seniors, 8 juniors, and return the better part of an offense that was incredibly productive last year. Hit 308. Obviously had a 461 slugging percentage. And we'll get to some of the key components of that in a minute, but you got to feel happy about just the cast of returners you've got.
Yeah, some guys that have been through the program and kind of know what we expect and what our goals are, and a lot of guys who've been through the program know what it means and what it takes to win a conference championship and try to do more than that. So yeah, we're going to rely heavily on our upperclassmen to carry a lot of the load for us, and a lot of our new guys and the young guys are going to get opportunities as well, but always good to have older guys in leadership positions that are on the field, and we'll have that.
All right, Coach, let's take a look at just break down each position by position basis a little bit, and first we'll start where, of course, where I'm going to start is on the mound.
Sure.
On the mound, obviously, significant loss in Logan Sawyer, but for a good reason. A reason you can be proud of. He gets drafted by the Colorado Rockies, and he's doing big things for the Colorado Rockies. And then had some other stuff, some unfortunate situations with some injuries, and just part of the way the game works sometimes. So you're going to be kind of having a new approach on the mound. What do you look at? What guys do you look to really make a significant impact this year on the mound?
Yeah, there's been a combo of graduation, the draft. A couple injuries, pitchers from last year. But the way we've always looked at it, the way I don't think we've ever talked about what we've lost to the team. I don't think I've ever addressed that with the team. We look at it as guys going to get opportunities, next man up kind of a mentality. There are going to be some young guys that are going to get a lot of opportunities this year, some new guys, and we're excited about that, to throw them right in the fire. Early on, guys who have looked pretty good. Brandon Jean has had a nice fall and early spring. Grant Painter, a new guy from Walter State, has thrown the ball well. Wes Todd has, coming off a couple seasons where he's gotten a lot of experience, has thrown the ball well. Ryan Burleson has been outstanding out of the bullpen for us. So those are just a few guys that have stand out. But, there's a lot of guys that are going to make impacts. Jake Watkins is going to have the opportunity, and to name just a few. So, yeah, a lot of guys are going to get chances, and going to rely on everybody from a pitching standpoint.
And you mentioned Wes Todd. Wes Todd was a guy who went from a little midweek used guy his freshman year to all of a sudden he's a weekend starter, and he really performed admirably in that situation. He goes 5-3 last year, makes 11 starts. And have you seen so far? Have you seen a comparable jump this year from his sophomore to his junior year?
Yeah, I think he just knows what to expect and knows what's getting ready to happen. The competition level at which he's going to have to pitch, he's prepared for that now, and so he's confident in knowing what he has to do to get himself ready, and that just comes through experience. And he's done a really nice job, and so he's been there, done that, and knows how to get it done.
And then in the bullpen, we look kind of in the bullpen. The guy led our team in appearances last year. Ian Krieger graduated, and then we'll get to Josh Coker again here in a little bit. But he was also a huge guy. Had 8 saves last year. So kind of how are you maybe approaching that area of the team where we had some pretty significant losses.
Sure. And going into the season, our approach is, from a closer perspective, we're going to look to Ryan Burleson to take Josh Coker's place. Ryan would have been one of our top relievers last year, but got hurt, broke his hand in our series at Armstrong last year, and was throwing well. So, he's got experience. And then from a relief standpoint, it's all hands on deck. We're going to everyone's going to get opportunities early, and especially when you're scrimmaging against yourself so much, your hitters get to know your pitchers, and your pitchers get to know your hitters. So, seeing a different face will tell a lot of the story for our pitchers, and facing some other quality hitters besides our own, and can guys get guys out at this level and compete. So we'll have a lot to find out early. Don't have a whole lot of time before our first conference series, but just got 5 games. But going to try to figure some things out and be a learning process as we go.
And now let's move outward a little bit, and I'm gonna include catchers in this group. Let's talk about the infield. The infield, man, you got to be happy with the guys you got coming back in that group. 3 all-conference guys. Kelvin Brito at first base comes back. In my mind, one of the best hitters in the conference last season. Gene Rodriguez at second base. He was an all-SAC second-teamer. And then Kyle Floyd at catcher, who worked his way in an honorable mention spot after kind of playing his way steadily into the lineup and becoming a huge part of what we did. As a whole, you got to love that group.
Yeah, again, guys returning that got experience. Those 3 that you named, should all see significant time. And then, again, Ryan Burleson had earned the starting shortstop position last year before he got hurt. It was unfortunate. So he's going to be back in the mix at shortstop. And we got several guys at third base that are vying for playing time. Eric Kalman has swung the bat very well in the fall and spring, but Jacob West certainly has experience there. Gold Glover in 2013 at third base. Brandon Morris will see time all over the infield, second, third, and shortstop. Nick Morabito will see time at third base and first base, and he's a veteran guy. So yeah, we've got a lot of experience. Danny Valdez is a newcomer and very athletic kid, can play second, third, or short. Have had him mainly in the middle right now, but these guys are making it hard on me to fill out a lineup, but that's a good thing. All have do different things well, but have all played well, and so again, it'll shake out early and see how guys perform under real pressure and real circumstances, and we'll see what happens.
Well, let's back up a little bit and talk about Kelvin Brito, a guy that he was a mid-year transfer last year, came in, and we knew that he was going to be a guy that was going to be really important to our offense. Literally, we know how great of a season he would have. 63 hits, 377 batting average, 48 RBIs. We talk about the season Josh Coker had, but Kelvin Brito was neck and neck with him. Do you think that Kelvin is ready now to make that next leap and push himself into the first team all SAC conversation and the all region conversation?
Yeah, I think one thing maybe people don't know about Kelvin, he's a big physical guy, first baseman, but one of the more intelligent baseball players I've coached. Just talk about it all the time. It's really hard to teach feel, and for guys feel for the game. And his baseball IQ is up there. He's a 3.8 student in the classroom. He doesn't say much, but just a very intelligent player, great feel for the game, great instincts, and that's why he's such a good hitter. He's not just up there like a gorilla. He's really thinking the game, thinks himself through at-bats, really has a great approach. Learns as the game goes on, and that's why he's had success. I don't see that changing. His physical tools are there, but his mental game, I think, is what's allowed him to have some success.
Another guy I want to talk about is Kyle Floyd, who really, like we had alluded to, is he had taken over that catcher spot and he earned it, and then it was full-time his about 10 games into the season, and really was just a steady, consistent force, provided a lot of toughness, I think, for your team. And would you agree with that assessment?
No question. Kyle was huge for us last year, and going into the season, it was kind of a 2-man race. with the two guys, and Kyle just really, once games started, he really separated himself and became the number one guy. And I felt like he was, the top catcher in our league, and so he's really improved both offensively, mainly offensively from the strides he's made, but defensively can catch and throw, handles the staff well, thinks the game, and I'm going to rely on him a lot. Tanner Latham is the other catcher that's he's a freshman, going to see some time too, going to catch a lot for us. But yeah, Kyle's going to bring leadership to that position. Always good to have leadership up the middle of your field, and so that's going to be important.
Well, let's move out a little bit. We're moving on to the outfielders, and you bring back two of your three main guys from last season, but the one that you don't bring back, unfortunately, is Josh Coker, who had one of the best statistical seasons in terms of the accolades he collected in the history of the LMU baseball program. He was an All-American, SAC Player of the Year, All-Region in 3 different publications. I don't know if there's really a way to go about kind of reproducing what a guy or making up for that, but maybe how do you see the team making up that deficit without him gone?
Yeah, well, first off, there's no way to replace a guy like that. But I think what we have done is done a nice job from a recruiting standpoint, and guys have that have been in the program have returned with improved, in better shape, more physical, those types of things. So. To steal a line from the movie Moneyball, you'd kind of recreate him in the aggregate. Guys like Wes Niederland, new addition, completely different type of player than Josh was, but a true center fielder, just can really cover ground, a leadoff hitter type guy, explosive athlete, which will move Johnny Lowe to a corner outfield position, and then. Newcomer Logan Augustine, freshman, has really impressed in the outfield, left-handed hitter, and he's going to see a lot of time. Mason Ewers has continued to develop, got some playing time last year, and highly in the mix. Again, good athlete. So I think what we lose in Coker's production, I think we gain in defensively. I think we're going to be better because we're going to cover more ground. We're more athletic, going to get more total bases, I think. Why these guys may not have the pop that Coker had, I think that we, again, overall in the outfield, we've improved there. So it's hard to say that when you lose such a good player, but I like our outfield, specifically defensively, better this year.
And then you return the two guys that formed the 1-2 holes in your lineup for most of the season, in Scott Miller and Johnny Lowe, and both of those guys were a big part of why the team ends up putting a 398 on-base percentage together. Scott Miller finishes 3rd in the conference in on-base percentage, and Johnny Lowe, two guys that really just always seem to set the table for those big boppers in the middle of the lineup, and now you got them back for another season, and you got to be happy about that.
Yeah, Scotty Miller has led our team in on-base percentage for 3 years. The 3 years he's been here, he's just an on-base machine. And Johnny Lowe, both those guys are just kind of the dirty work guys in your lineup. They'll take, they'll get hit by pitch. They'll grind out 10-pitch at-bats. Just guys that you hate to coach against, but you're glad you got them on your team. I see both those guys moving back a spot in our lineup, with probably Niederland leading off, and then Scotty in the 2 and Johnny in a 3, 4, 5. But just those guys, those intangibles to your lineup that you really can't coach. They're just they got up in our locker room. They've got a chart up there. They're competing against each other who can take the most hit by pitches. And they keep a tab so everybody can see it. It's just those two have a friendly competition. But that's the kind of guys, kind of players they are. Kind of the definition of our program, just blue collar. So, yeah, glad to have them back.
Well, and then you look at this, you see the guys who are ready to step in the outfield position. Mason Ewers, who you talked about, Wes Niederland. I knew you were excited about him in the recruiting trail. And then you just, it's almost stunning to see the amount of guys and talent and numbers you bring back in the infield. As a coach, this is obviously a wonderful problem to have, and you had mentioned it earlier, but how do you, approaching the problem of putting a lineup together, that'll be one of your toughest things to juggle as a manager this year.
Yeah. Again, our position players have made it tough for me to make a decision, and you know, every guy's going to get some opportunities, and nature of the beast is you got to be ready when your opportunity comes and grab it, and best guy plays. You know, I don't play favorites, freshman, senior, whatever. Best guy's going to be out there, and of course if we have a tie, the nod's going to go to the upperclassmen. But yeah, so they've made it tough on me. It's a good problem to have, and yeah, so it's going to be making sure everybody understands exactly where they're at and understands their role and executing their role, whatever it is that day. So,
well, luckily for you, you've got 50 or so games to figure out exactly what lineup you want to settle on. Just real quick, January 30th, you get underway. They made a legislation to be able to move the season up, thankfully. And you head to USC-Aiken for that annual season opening series. Always a fun series, always a fun trip. What are you doing between now and then to get the team really ready to go? Just about or exactly a week away right now. So what are you doing right now to get the team ready for that season opening series?
Yeah, we've been blessed with really good weather in this part of the country. In January, February, it's you get all kinds of different weather, and we've been in pretty good shape. We've had some cold days, but I think we're inside today, and I think that's only our second day inside. So we've been lucky to get outside a little bit more than last year. Yeah, so we're taking advantage of every day we can get outside, and just there's no way to replicate baseball indoors the way we want to play it. So been fortunate to have that. You know, so we're getting after it, trying to get our last round of scrimmages in this weekend to get guys ready for next weekend at Aiken.
Well, Coach, I know I speak for everyone when I say we're excited to watch the season. I can't believe it's already upon us, but excited to get it going, excited to be out at the games. And January 30th, 4 p.m., first pitch of the season. Rail Splitters take on USC-Aiken. Coach, best of luck this season. Thanks for catching up with us.
Thanks.